Thank you for sharing that. And we're not quite done yet, but we still have the virtually anything goes question for anybody new to this podcast. It's where I turn control over to Ben. He can ask me any question he likes. I don't know what it is, and it doesn't even have to be related to what we spoke about today. I do have to answer it though, even though I don't know what it is. The only caveat is that, and that's my safety net, once I've given my answer, then Ben has to answer the same question, answer his own question as well. So Ben, this is where I turn it over to you, and let me know what the virtually anything goes question is.
The virtually anything question for you, Lev, is what's the belief you hold about the world that you're most afraid people would misunderstand?
Wow. You put some thought into this, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Yeah. If not, what's your favorite color? That would be rubbish.
That would be rubbish. It's blue. So, I think, I mean, I have a faith, I have a Christian faith, and it's for me, it's very strong. It makes perfect sense. But I'm also very aware that not everybody shares that opinion, and I think in a you do you world, I think everybody chooses their own path, and that's their right to do. So I think with that, there's probably I think a worry from my side that perhaps people don't share my belief. I'm not forcing that on anybody, but I do see the positive it does in my life. So and many other people's lives as well. So I think from that perspective, that's probably the one I'd have to say that's the strongest that I feel about that kind of, if it's a worry or concern or but for me it's the most obvious one. I would say, yeah.
Do you think that's because do you think it's about judgment? Do you think other people judge you for what the stereotype of what a Christian belief might be?
No, so I haven't always become I became a Christian when I was when was it? It was 2007, I think. So I didn't grow up a Christian, so I made that choice as an adult. But even back then, I think when I was younger, yes, probably I would have been more concerned about that. Now I've just turned 50, and I can wear red trousers and red socks and not be concerned. You get to that age where you don't really care what people think. So it's so in that sense probably not so much anymore. But there is an element of that, I guess. Yeah. But also I think there is an element of not wanting to force. You can't force beliefs on people. People have to explore that for themselves. But then at the same time, when you're passionate about something that doesn't have to be a Christian faith, it could be anything. You would talk about it, wouldn't you? You would tell people. You go to a party or whatever, you tell people about it, and you're passionate about it, and people think, "Oh, that's amazing. That sounds awesome." But there isn't that same freedom really for any belief. Really, it doesn't have to be Christianity. It could be anything. From a religious perspective, that is, I guess, in a way, not done. So I think in that sense, it's probably not the worry of being judged. I guess it's just the way it's handled in society in general.
The fact that there is always an opinion about it, and those opinions are generally always quite strong or visceral anyway.
Yeah, and it's the same with politics. And it's you go to a party, if you tell them you're a Labour supporter or a Reform supporter or a Democrat or Republican, wherever you live, there will be and it's more polarized these days, isn't it? And I think there's stronger opinions, stronger reactions. But that doesn't mean it's any less important to believe in, follow your belief, than it has been.
Very interesting. Yeah. I could have many theological debates. I really enjoy that as a topic of discussion. But now is not the time for that. So.
Maybe we'll do another episode.
We'll do another episode just for theology. Yes, please. That'd be
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay.
Just read the question out again, and then.
So the question was, The question was, what's the belief you hold about the world that you're most afraid people would misunderstand? And my obviously I've had time to think about the answer as well. So it's a bit of a cheat, really. But the belief that I have is already one that we've discussed pretty much at great length, which is the idea that whilst there are many conversations around AI use in the world, I think that AI is going to be a huge force for good in the coming years and the coming decades. I think there are lots of difficult questions and difficult conversations to be had. And I think that there are always going to be good actors and bad actors with, and I'm not referring to my acting career here, but there are always going to be people who take everything one way or one way or the other. But overall, artificial intelligence it's going to take a while to play out, and for the ecosystem to sort of settle down. But at the end of it, it is going to largely be a force for good. The only side where I think that there is a real risk is within military use. I do have a genuine concern around that. But for the majority of normal humanity, I think that there will be a lot of resetting done, but I think the world will be a very efficient place afterwards.
Mm. And do you think generally that the concerns around job replacement, you see the only 5 jobs that will remain in the world after AI takes hold, those kind of sensationalist, are there sensationalist claims? Do you see people's concerns that they might be warranted and genuine or not?
I know I understand them. AI is not the first time that a technological advancement has created a shift in the workforce. Let's use the media industry as an example, and I'm only using this as an example because I can't use other sectors because I'm an idiot. But the statistic is something like 40 years ago, 60% of the jobs that are done in the media industry now were not jobs. And we've lost 60% of the jobs that were jobs 40 years ago, and in another 40 years the same will happen again. But yet it is still the strongest sector that the UK economy has, with whatever the numbers were that were bandied around in February that I can no longer remember. But as by economic value, the media sector is the second largest sector in the UK. And it has undergone many technological changes. Yes, this is another big one, but actually for humanity to roll over and for financial poverty to set in at a widespread level would require a level of human passivity that has never been seen. So yes, there will be an upheaval and there'll be a shift, but humans are very resilient and very good at finding new ways of creating value. And I don't mean value in an economic sense. I mean value on a personal sense. They will provide a way, everybody will find a way of doing something new that has value for somebody else. Because the AI will be a new tool that they can use in that process. So no, I don't think it will be, the great reset that everybody thinks it's going to be. But it is going to be, it is a new tool to use. The worry would be is the fact that actually it's going to take some time for the majority of people to work out how to bed in with that. So there will be a short-term contraction of the labour market, I suspect. But then when people find out new ways of working with it, you will hire new people. We are, as we've discussed, there's an awful lot of stuff within Deep Fusion that looks like it's AI driven, but yet we are hiring people and growing faster than any other production company that I know at the moment. Certainly in the unscripted space. And that is because we need people to do the work that we're doing. And yeah, okay, will that change over time? Yeah, and our needs will change over time. But the jobs that we'll need doing are still going to end up being jobs. It's just what tools are they going to use to be able to do it that will change. That's the only difference.
One tool in the list of engine and internet and other things when we just adjust as humans and carry on
and roll with it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Ben, it's been such a fascinating conversation, and I appreciate you coming on to the show, sharing your thoughts, sharing your story into leadership, telling us more about how you work, what you do, and obviously, seeing that clip of Virtually Parkinson is as fascinating as when I first saw it demoed to me as well at the podcast show. So I really appreciate you being there and sharing that with us. So thank you, and of course, thank you to our audience as well for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, there are plenty more in this series and previous series and in upcoming series as well. So if you liked it, share it with somebody that you think would like it too. That helps us reach more people and grow more. But of course, subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes going forward as well. So Ben, again, thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon, and I'm sure we'll see all our listeners as well very soon. So thank you very much and take care.